How's it going?
Doing well. Did everybody have a good time? Yeah.
Did you have?
How about you? I did. I always have a good time.
Hi, Jennifer. You just posted right before we took off that you're not leaving for the ceasefire. Why are you?
Look at it better. We're not looking for a ceasefire. I didn't say I was looking for a ceasefire. That was Emmanuel. Nice guy. But he doesn't get it right too often. But we're not looking. We're looking for better than a ceasefire.
What you're looking to get into this more, you're not going to involve the U.S. in this conflict at this stage. You're going to do anything more for Israel right now?
We're doing pretty well. Right now, we're doing pretty well. Remember, Iran cannot have any nuclear weapons. Very simple. Not have to go too deep into it. They just can't have a nuclear weapon.
When you say better, on the call for Tehran to evacuate, is there a threat or is there incoming?
Not at all. I want people to be safe. That's always possible. A thing like that could happen. I just want people to be safe.
Is there any new concern about U.S. troops or assets in the region at all today?
You're great people that know how to protect themselves.
And when you say better, what?
Oh, we'll come down so hard if they do anything to our people. We'll come down so hard that the gloves are off so beautifully. Now, I think they know not to touch our troops.
What are you
find out what our troops are ready?
When you say better,
the Vice President Steve Witkoff. There's reports that you want to send the Vice President Steve Witkoff to meet with the Iranians and have discussions.
I may, but I'm not sure. I may. Depends on what happens when I get back.
What specifically is better than a ceasefire? What are you looking for here?
An end, a real end, not a ceasefire. An end.
So something that would be permanent.
Yeah. Or giving up entirely. Is that okay too?
Are you close there? Is that possible? Is that possible in the next 24
hours? Certainly possible. Complete with give up. That's possible. Yeah.
How do the Israelis want to?
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs and the Secretary of Defense drawing up plans for you if Iran were to attack U.S. bases.
I can't try to understand that.
Even did get involved militarily that a U.S. could destroy Iran's nuclear program. And
no guarantees on everything or anything online. You know that. Look at you, right? There's no guarantee. But you're saying a guarantee on what?
Do you think if the U.S. got involved militarily, it would actually wipe out Iran's nuclear program? Or where's your assessment of that?
Well, I hope their program's going to be wiped out long before that. And they're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
What are you hearing from me? Do you have any reason to believe the Israelis are going to slow down, or are they going to hit the accelerator right now because they've got superiority?
Find out over the next 2 days. You can find out. Nobody's slowed up so far.
Has the gang of eight been notified about what's coming in the next couple of days?
Well, we'll be talking to them.
What can you do?
It's not necessary.
What can you do in Washington that you wouldn't do in Canada?
Just be a little bit, I think, more well-versed. Not having to use telephones so much because I don't believe in telephones. It's people like you listen to them. So being on the scene is much better. And we did everything I had to do with the G7. We had a good G7. We signed the deal with the European Union. Phase one of a deal. We signed the deal with the UK. And the UK is really great. We're very far down the line with a lot of deals. I mean, look, we're actually finished with every deal if you really think about it, because all I have to do is say this is what you're going to do. But it's nice to be nice.
Is Secretary Bessent stay behind as your representative?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah. Here we go. Who else has a question other than CNN fake news?
President, you talked about the European Union. Can you tell us what the status is on talks on those who signed the UK?
I don't feel that they're offering a fair deal yet. And they've been very tough over the years. If you look at European Union, they formed in order to hurt the United States on trade. And we're either going to make a good deal or they'll just pay whatever we say to them.
What about the Japanese? Are you never the Prime Minister?
We had a great conversation. I thought he was terrific, actually. You know, I was very friendly with Shinzo Abe, Prime Minister. He was a great man. But I think he's going to do a very good job.
Did he give a chance to a deal there?
There's a chance. It's tough. Japanese is tough. But ultimately, you have to understand, you're just going to send a letter and say, this is what you're going to pay. Otherwise, you don't have to do business. There's a chance.
They want changes to auto tariffs as well. Is that on the table?
See what happens.
All right.
Now, this
Anything else?
Yeah, this drone attack in Kyiv. What's your response to that? It looks like 14
When was that?
a drone attack, a Russian drone attack in Kyiv.
When?
Very recently.
Just now.
40 civilians, apartment building,
You're not also
I mean, as I'm walking back to see you, that's what it's like. Well,
something like that.
sounds like it. I'll have to look at it.
The joint statement on the Middle East, what changed about that convinced you to sign on? The G7 joint statement.
Well, I haven't seen the statement yet, but I authorized them to see certain things. I don't know whether or not they said it correctly, but I think they probably did. We had a good meeting. I think that Canadian representatives were very good. He did a very good job.
How are the
Carney did a great.
how was your meeting with him? How are the trade talks looking with Canadian?
I think it was good. I think we had a lot of good talk from a lot of people.
You said he's looking for something more complex. Can you tell me what you mean by
Well,
that?
they get too complex on the deals and they never get done. And we need speed. You know, we're dealing with really, if you think about it, probably 175 countries. And most of them just, we sent a letter saying, it'll be an honor to trade with you and here's what you're going to have to pay to do it. We're making a lot of money. You know, we took in 88 billion in tariffs. And I was called by Congress about 2 nights ago saying, we don't understand. The numbers are so far off. And I said, is that good or bad? He said, well, we're taking in so much more income than we thought. We've never seen anything like this. What is it? I said, check the tariff column. And it's about $88 billion that they've never seen before. And that's nothing compared to what it's going to do.
You've got other tariffs coming down the pipe here.
I have a lot of them. Yeah.
What's the timing on those things like lumber, copper, pharmaceutical drugs?
Yeah, we're going to be doing pharmaceuticals very soon. That's going to bring all the companies back into America.
All of them, or focusing on?
It's going to bring most of them back in, at least partially back in. You know, they left us because we had presidents that didn't know what the hell we were doing. We should have never lost our car business. We lost 52% of our car business over the years. Should have never lost it. All they had to do is say, if you make a car, you're going to leave us, you're going to make a car, you're going to pay a 25, 30% tariff, and they would have never left. Nobody said that to anybody. Until I came.
Homeland Security is saying that ICE is going to start importing into hotels and farms again. Is that a change in course philosophy?
Look everywhere, but I think the biggest problem is the inner cities. We're looking everywhere. Look, what they let into this country, what Biden let in, that we're allowed to, I don't think he knew what the hell he was doing, frankly, but whoever worked for him. But they let into this country, we're never going to forget it. They let prisoners in, they let gang members in, drug dealers in, mentally insane into our country. No, we're going to get them out. There are far more in the inner cities, Democrat-run cities. Sadly, I'm just giving you that. There's far more in there than you have on a farm or something.
So no one's getting exemptions anymore. Everyone is.
Well, everyone's being looked at, but the bigger problem is the cities right now. And that tends to be where the really bad ones are. The murderers, you know, they've let in 11,888 murderers. People that killed people. Biden allowed that to happen. So the Democrats allowed it to happen. Biden didn't know he was even around.
Question on your Senate confirmation. With all the military actions, there are only 3 of your 6 sub-cabinet members in the Defense
Yeah, I'd
Department.
like to see the nominations go fast and the Democrats hold up our nominations.
Are you going to talk to Senator
Yeah, I
Clinton
know.
about that?
Johnson's doing a very good job. You know, I've got a lot of people in it, but he's doing a very good job.
Have you had a
The
chance?
Democrats, if we had George Washington up for approval, the Democrats would take maximum time, every hour, every minute, to delay him as long as possible. We had a combination of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. They would go max, it's called max time.
Mr. Modi, you've always said that you don't believe Iran should be able to have a nuclear weapon. But how close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because something ever testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having it.
I got this one on. You were at this beautiful scene for the meeting, and you said a lot about acquiring Canada as a state. Did anybody talk to you about that? And where
Well, I
are
think
you
it's
right
a
now?
much better deal from Canada, but, you know, it's up to them.
That
They're
dumb?
going to have to pay a lot of tariffs and things. They're going to have to pay a lot of money for the dome, for the Iron Dome. They want to be a part of it.
Did you talk
We
about
may
that
make a separate deal on that, by the way.
on the
We
dome?
discussed it, yeah. On the
Discuss it.
dome.
How many go?
They want to be at 71 billion. They're going to pay.
That could be a dome thing separate from the
They'll
tariff.
be in the dome. Yeah, they'll be under the.
And,
Over how
and
many years?
are you open to negotiating with the Iranians right now, or do you want to wait?
I don't know. I've been negotiating. I told them to do the deal. They should have done the deal. Their cities have been blown to pieces. Lost a lot of people. They should have done the deal. I told them do the deal. So I don't know. I'm not too much in the mood to negotiate.
Do you think you'll be in that situation tomorrow at any point?
Yeah. Tomorrow morning, girl. While you're sleeping.
That,
Goodbye.
tell us why
everybody.
about why do you tell people to evacuate Tehran? You know how you posted
Yeah,
evacuate?
I think it's safe.
On
There's a lot of bad things happening. No, I think it's safe for them to evacuate.
On Minnesota, there were a lot of horrific details that came out today about the suspect who's been charged there. Have you called the governor yet or been able to speak to any of them?
I don't really call him. It's look, he appointed this guy to a position. I think the governor of Minnesota is so whacked out. I'm not calling him. Why would I call him? I could call him and say, hi, how you doing? The guy doesn't have a clue. He's a mess. So, I could be nice and call him, but why waste time?
Well, the big beautiful bill, sir. We need to talk about what the
We're
Senate.
doing well with the big,
After looking at the Senate, they're
great,
supposed to
big,
change.
beautiful bill. Right?
Are you okay with their change?
I hear so far it's going well. Look, if it doesn't get approved, 68% tax increase, and I think the Democrats would have to, they'd be, because we won't get Democrats support. Think of it. We're giving the biggest tax cut in history. Instead, you have the biggest tax increase in history. 68%.
Are you going to extend the TikTok deadline again?
Probably, yeah. It's probably have to get China approval. I think we'll get it.
You have the legal basis.
I think President Xi will ultimately approve.
Then you have the legal basis to do that.
Yeah. What we do.
Iran, is there any sign that North Korea is getting more involved in helping Iran, or is Russia getting more involved with this?
I haven't seen it. No. I don't think anybody wants to get involved. It's a mess.
What about American citizens who are trying to leave the area with the airport shut down, Ben Gurion shut
We're
down?
doing the best we can. We're working on that with you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, President.